Do parents ever change? From my more than 15 years of experience in mental health, let me tell you something I know about parents. Parents are strictest and most rigid when their children are young kids. This is when they're overwhelmed, they're stretched to their limits, their resources are stretched, and there's not much they can do about it. All their defense mechanisms, coping strategies, and old beliefs, they all come out during this period. And basically they're expressed on their kids. From my experience, they get wiser over time, more mature over time, and more balanced. And that is usually the point where they have grandkids. Even though that is most of the time the case, it's not always the case. For example, in personality disorders, people might not actually mature in the same way as most of the others do. When they mature and become more balanced, they start giving their children, who are now adults, who have their own children, very balanced and very compassionate advice about how to raise their children. The kind of advice that their children themselves never really actually saw materialize in their own parents' behaviors when they themselves were kids. We grow up with the voices of our parents in our minds, telling us what to do and what not to do. Maybe sometimes very strict parents, very strict opinions, very rigid opinions. And then when we're adults, these voices have more or less become a chronic voice in our minds, and it's really hard to change. Now, the biggest kicker is that when we are adults, we do not update that sound. What I mean by this is that most of the time, your actual parent has changed a lot and has become a lot more balanced, a lot more compassionate and understanding because of time and maturity and age and wisdom. But the voice inside our head is the voice of the parent that we had when we were kids. The parent in our mind is no longer the same parent that has aged. Sometimes what I try to do with my clients is that I try to update this internal voice by incorporating more of the actual parent that is in their life right now, the wizened, the balanced one. Sometimes that involves talking to their parent, discussing things with them, even revealing some of their vulnerabilities. Well, that can go both ways though. Either the parent understands where their adult child is coming from, and they do help them update to the new, compassionate, wizened, matured person that they are now, and update their internal voice accordingly so that they're more compassionate with themselves. Or the parent feels defensive because they think that you're coming to them with all these accusations of how they raised you, and then they start defending themselves. There is no easy answer. There is not one single way that works always, and each person is very different from the other. Some techniques involve trying to write a letter to the older version of your parent, or try to talk to them as if they're in the chair in front of you, and sometimes you just do some role play with your therapist. So what would you tell your parent if they were sitting across the table from you right now? What would you tell the parent from the past? What would you tell the version of them that you know now? Whatever it was that you would decide to say, it is both unique and common at the same time. And if you are now a parent and you sometimes wonder about whether you're doing the right thing, just remember, be to them the person that you always needed as a child.